I 35F knew this Christmas dinner would be a disaster the moment I walked in. It's not like I didn't know what I was walking into, it's always the same. But this year, I was determined to hold it together despite everything. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jessica, the youngest of 4 siblings. Being the youngest has never meant anything sweet in my family, it's always been the reason they talk down to me. I'm 35 now, but to them, I'm still the baby. I don't have a husband or kids like my siblings, but I've been successful in other ways. I have a career I'm proud of, a loyal group of friends, and independence they can't grasp. For them, it's always been about marriage and kids. Nothing else matters. Christmas dinner is always a big deal for our family. It's one of the few times we all gather at my parents' house, this massive Victorian place that's been in the family for generations. It looks perfect for photos, but is a nightmare to clean. I've always hated it, cold and distant, just like my parents. But it's tradition, so every year I go. I showed up just after everyone else. My oldest brother Michael, 43M, was already there with his wife and 3 kids, setting up the table as if they owned the place. My sister Olivia, 41F, was there with her husband and baby, always perfect, always showing off their ideal life. My middle brother David, 38M, and his wife were in the kitchen, their children running around screaming. My parents, both late 60s, were bustling around, acting like they had everything under control. I slipped in quietly, hoping to avoid drama. When my mom saw me, her face lit up with that fake smile she always wears, the kind that makes me feel tolerated, not welcomed. "Jessica, sweetie," she said, giving me an obligatory hug. "Glad you could make it. Go ahead and grab a seat." Before I could respond, my dad called from the other room, his voice booming with authority. "Dinner's ready. Michael, Olivia, David, get the kids situated, please." I stood there uncertain. I wanted to say something, but it was Christmas. I didn't want to make a scene. Not yet. That's when my mom spoke again in that subtle way she has of making everything feel like a lesson. "Jessica, why don't you sit at the kids' table? We've got a special spot for you there with the little ones." I froze. I couldn't believe it. My mom had just asked me, a 35-year-old professional woman, to sit at the kids' table with its mismatched chairs and paper plates. I glanced at the dining room. The adults' table was beautifully set with china, wine glasses, and candles. My dad sat at the head, surrounded by my married siblings. No room for me. I looked back at my mom, trying to hold back my anger. I felt that familiar sting, the one I get when they remind me I'm not good enough. This wasn't just a side comment. This was deliberate. I forced a smile. "Sure, Mom." "Thanks," I said, keeping my voice steady. She smiled back, but her expression showed she didn't care how I felt. This was about keeping appearances. I walked to the kids' table, my stomach turning with every step. For a second, I thought maybe they'd treat me like an adult. I sat at the little plastic chair, surrounded by toddlers more interested in their food than in me. My nieces and nephews ignored me completely. I stared at the sloppy plates in front of me. One of the toddlers dropped broccoli under the table, and I wanted to scream. That's when it hit me, this wasn't about the table. This was about them seeing me as less than. They weren't even hiding it anymore. In that moment, something inside me snapped. I stood up quietly. I didn't need to make a scene. I grabbed my coat and walked straight to the door. As I opened it, my mom called out, "Jessica, where are you going?" I didn't look back. "I'm leaving," I said coldly. "Enjoy your dinner." The door slammed behind me. The cold air hit me, but I didn't care. I got in my car and left, my parents' calls fading in the distance. I drove for hours until I ended up at a quiet diner. I ordered something warm, my hands still shaking. I'd never felt this much rage and relief simultaneously. That's when my phone started blowing up. I glanced at the screen, messages from Michael, Olivia, David, even my dad. But the one that stood out was from my mom. "Where are you? We need to talk. This isn't funny, Jessica." I felt a smirk form on my lips. I wasn't going to pick up. Not yet. The ball was in my court now. I sipped my coffee, watching the steam rise. What would I do next? They wouldn't like the answer. My phone kept buzzing. The messages grew more desperate, each trying to pull me back into their game. Michael, Jessica, this isn't funny. Where are you? Olivia, Mom is freaking out. We just want you back. Dad, don't act like a child. Get back here. I didn't respond. I didn't owe them an explanation. They'd made their choice when they treated me like a second-class citizen. All I wanted was to be treated like an adult. After an hour, I checked my messages again. They were realizing I wasn't going to just roll over. Then my mom's text appeared, Jessica, I don't understand why you're doing this. Your siblings are concerned, and this is ruining Christmas. Don't make this about you. You're being selfish. Selfish? They were being selfish. The night had been about their image, their expectations. I'd been just a piece in their puzzle of perfection. But to her, I was the problem. I hit the block button on her number. She wasn't going to manipulate me into feeling guilty this time. This wasn't just a reaction. I had a plan. I'd been wronged by all of them, and tonight I would make sure they knew it. Later, I pulled up the family group chat. There were already messages about me. This is ridiculous. She's acting like a child. What's the big deal? She's overreacting. I started typing. It wasn't just about tonight, it was about years of treatment. You guys don't get it. This isn't just about a seat at the table. It's about how you've treated me my entire life, like I'm not good enough, like I'm invisible unless you need something. I'm the only one who doesn't get praised for following your script, get married, have kids, play the game. But I've built my own life, and I'm doing fine. Maybe it's time you recognize that. I hit send, and messages flooded in immediately. Dad, Jessica, this is ridiculous. You're being dramatic. Olivia, you can't just leave and not expect everyone to be upset. Michael, we didn't do anything wrong. Calm down before your tantrum ruins everything. They still didn't get it. They were still making it my fault. I opened my photos and found an old family Christmas picture, everyone smiling except me, forced into the picture like an afterthought. I posted it to the group chat with a caption, here's to the perfect family, always making sure the youngest knows their place. Then I turned off my phone. The silence felt freeing. They had pushed me too far. Hours later, I turned my phone back on. Dozens of missed calls and texts ranging from angry to apologetic filled my screen. Mom, I don't know what's gotten into you. You're acting like this is about us when it's about you. You can't run away like this. You're tearing us apart. Christmas is ruined without you. The classic guilt trip, twisting the situation to make me the bad guy. Dad, this is childish. We need to talk when you calm down. Michael, if you think walking out was making a statement, you're wrong. You're making it worse. You owe us an apology. An apology? For standing up for myself? No. But Olivia's message was different. Jessica, I know you're upset, and I understand why. But this isn't the way to fix things. You're my sister, and I love you, but you're pushing everyone away. Please come home. We can talk. It's Christmas. I'd always been close to Olivia. She used to defend me when we were kids. But now I wasn't sure I could trust her after everything she'd let slide. I typed a short reply, I'll think about it. Then set my phone down. The next morning brought more messages, including one from Olivia. Jessica, I've been talking to Michael and Mom. They're upset, and so am I. We're family. You can't isolate yourself. If you don't come home soon, it's going to get worse. Don't make this more complicated. More pressure, more manipulation, and still no understanding. They were trying to guilt me back, making me feel like I was causing problems when their refusal to see me as an adult was the real issue. Then my dad texted, "Jessica, we need to talk. You can't keep running away. You'll regret this." The same manipulative guilt trip. I didn't respond. All day, they tried to reel me back. But I kept my distance. I'd made my choice. That evening, sitting alone, part of me wanted to give in. It was Christmas after all. But if I went back now, it would be like admitting I wasn't worth fighting for. That being pushed aside was acceptable. That they were right. I thought about the photo I'd posted, a forced smile, shoved to the side. I wasn't just upset about tonight. I was upset about years of this treatment, every gathering where I was relegated to the back seat, never given a voice. Then my phone rang. It was my mom. I hesitated but answered. "Jessica," she sounded tired. "We need to talk. This has gone on long enough." I stayed silent. "Look," she continued, "we're family. You're making this complicated. You're pushing everyone away. Your dad is upset, Michael is upset, Olivia, I'm upset, Jessica. I'm not pushing anyone away," I said calmly. "I'm just not playing your game anymore. I'm not going to sit at the kids' table, be treated like I'm invisible, and pretend everything's fine." She was quiet for a moment. "You can't just leave us hanging. Your dad's trying to make Christmas special. The whole family is here. It's not just about you," she said. "You're breaking the family apart. I've spent my life trying to fit into your mold. But no one ever saw me," I replied. "You didn't want me as an adult. You wanted me to stay a little kid." Tonight was the last straw. Silence. She was finally hearing me. It wasn't just about a seat. It was about my whole life. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I didn't know you felt that way." "It took me a long time to realize it too," I said. "But I'm done pretending." After a pause, she sighed. "I get it. But I'm still your mother, and I want us to be a family." There was a time I would have run back to them. But I wasn't that person anymore. They needed to see me as an equal. "I'll think about it," I said. This time it wasn't about caving. It was about taking my time. It was about them realizing I wasn't an afterthought. "All right," she said. "I hope you come back soon. I just want you to be happy." I hung up and took a deep breath. It wasn't over. But for the first time, I had control. I wasn't going to let them walk all over me anymore. I watched the snow fall outside. I didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in years, I felt free. And Christmas? It wasn't ruined. For the first time in my life, I was taking care of me. The rest could wait. Update 1, it's been 24 hours since I walked out of my family's Christmas dinner after being told to sit at the kids' table. Thanks for your support. I spent last night in a hotel where my family couldn't find me. I barely slept, replaying years of being treated like a child despite being 35. This morning, I had about 30 missed calls and texts from virtually every family member. Most followed predictable patterns. "Dad, your mother is beside herself. This childish behavior needs to stop. David, mom's crying and Christmas is ruined. Hope you're happy. My aunt, you need to respect your parents. Family comes first. They're making me the problem when all I did was refuse to be humiliated." The only supportive message came from my nephew Tyler, 16M. "Aunt Jessica, are you okay? I thought it was messed up how grandma treated you. That made me cry." A teenager saw the problem while all the adults either participated or stood by. Around noon, Olivia showed up at my empty apartment. "I'm worried about you. Please let me know you're safe." I didn't reply. This wasn't genuine concern, it was reconnaissance. They're panicking because I took control of the situation. My mother emailed me after I blocked her number. "I don't understand why you're doing this to the family. Everyone was having a wonderful time until you decided to make a scene. Your father hasn't slept. You've ruined everyone's Christmas with this selfish behavior." Not a single acknowledgement that what she did was humiliating. As usual, she made herself the victim. Later, Tyler called me secretly. Everyone's still freaking out. But I heard Grandma and Grandpa talking when they thought no one was around. What did they say? I asked. Grandma said she didn't understand why you were so upset about the kids' table. And Grandpa said, she's not a child anymore, Margaret. Maybe it's time we stopped treating her like one. I was shocked. My rigid, traditional father had actually seen the problem. Then Michael texted, I don't know what weird midlife crisis you're going through, but you need to get over yourself. Not having a family of your own doesn't give you the right to destroy ours. Grow up. That crystallized everything. In his eyes, I'm not a real adult because I'm not married with children. I took screenshots of his text and posted it to social media. Apparently, at 35, I'm not a grown-up because I don't have a husband and children. This is what happens when you set boundaries with toxic family members. Within an hour, my phone exploded again. Friends offered support while my family was outraged that I'd aired dirty laundry. Olivia called, "What are you doing? Do you have any idea how this makes us all look?" "I don't care how it makes you look," I replied. "I care how you made me feel." For years, I've accepted the condescending comments and dismissal of my life choices because I took a different path. That's not fair. We've always supported you. Have you? When's the last time anyone asked about my promotion? Or treated my opinions as valid? You all act shocked when I finally say enough. After a pause, she asked, "What would make this right?" "I want to be treated with the same respect you give each other. I want my life choices valued, not pitted. I want a seat at the adult table, literally and figuratively. And I want acknowledgement that what happened wasn't okay." "Mom won't apologize," Olivia said immediately. "Then we have nothing to discuss." "Wait. Let me talk to her. And Dad. And Michael. Just give me some time." Later that evening, my father texted, "Jessica, I'd like to speak with you. Not about coming back or apologizing. Just to talk. Your mother doesn't know I'm contacting you." This was unprecedented. I replied, "Breakfast tomorrow? The diner on Lincoln Street at 8? His response, "I'll be there." For the first time, I feel like someone in my family might actually hear me. I'll update after our meeting. Update 2, I'm still processing everything that's happened in the last 48 hours. My breakfast with Dad led to an unexpected family confrontation. I arrived at the diner early, choosing a booth in the back. Dad arrived exactly at 8 o'clock, looking tired. After ordering, he cleared his throat. "When you left dinner, your mother was convinced you were just being dramatic. But I knew it was more than that. I've watched how she treats you, how we all treat you, for years. And I've said nothing. Why speak up now?" I asked. "Because seeing you walk away made me realize we might lose you for good." He continued, "When you didn't follow the traditional path, marriage, children, we kept treating you like you were waiting to start your real life." "My life is real," I said firmly. "Just different from what you expected. I know that now. But your mother's having a harder time accepting it. That doesn't excuse how she treated me." "No, it doesn't." I nearly dropped my fork. Dad had never admitted Mom was wrong about anything. "After you left, I told your mother she was wrong to put you at the kids' table. We had a big fight about it. For the first time in 40 years, I slept in the guest room. I was stunned. Your social media post has created quite a situation. Michael is furious, Olivia's playing peacemaker, and your mother is hurt and angry. I'm hurt too, Dad. I've been hurt for years." He took my hand, something he hadn't done since I was a child. "I know. And I failed you by not seeing it sooner." As we were leaving, Dad revealed, "Your mother is planning an intervention at our house this afternoon. They expect me to bring you." "I'm not going," I said immediately. "I won't walk into an ambush." "I didn't think you would. But this isn't going away." When I returned to my apartment, I immediately sensed something was wrong. My home office door was ajar. I called my building's front desk and learned Olivia had been let in an hour ago, claiming she needed to drop off Christmas presents. Furious, I called her. "Did you break into my apartment?" I demanded. "I didn't break in. I told the doorman I needed to drop off your gifts." "And did you?" "No. I came to look for you." "That's a violation of my privacy, Olivia. We're worried sick. You're not answering calls, posting family business online, meeting dad in secret. What are we supposed to do? Respect my boundaries. Jessica, please. Everyone's at mom and dad's. We just want to talk." I'm finally standing up for myself after years of being marginalized. "Is that what you think? That we marginalize you?" "The kids' table, Olivia. I'm 35 years old." She sighed. "That was not okay. I should have said something. Will you come talk to us?" "I'm not coming to the house," I said firmly. "If you want to talk, it's on neutral ground. And not all at once." We agreed to meet at the park at 4 o'clock. Just mom, Olivia, and me. At 3:45, I arrived and found a bench with good visibility. At 4, I spotted them approaching, Mom, Olivia, and unexpectedly, Michael. "I said just Mom and Olivia," I said coldly. "I thought it would help to have Michael here too," Olivia explained. Mom looked me over critically. "You look tired, Jessica. Let's skip the small talk," I said. "You wanted to talk. I'm here." Mom sat down opposite me. "Your behavior has been concerning. Walking out on Christmas dinner, ignoring our calls, posting private matters online." "My behavior?" I interrupted. "You told your 35-year-old daughter to sit at the children's table. You humiliated me in front of the entire family." "It wasn't meant to humiliate you," Mom insisted. "You've always sat with the children. It's tradition." "It's infantilizing," I countered. "And it stops now." Michael stepped forward. "Jess, you're blowing this out of proportion. It's just a seating arrangement. It's not just about the seating. It's about how this family sees me, as less than, as incomplete because I've chosen a different path." "Nobody thinks you're less than," Olivia interjected. "Really? Then explain Michael's text about my midlife crisis and how I need to grow up because I don't have a family of my own." Michael looked embarrassed. I was angry. "I didn't mean it." "Yes, you did. You've always judged my choices. I'm the family failure because I prioritized my career over marriage and children." "That's not true," Mom protested, but her eyes said otherwise. "When's the last time you asked about my work? Or remembered my industry award? Or treated anything I do as valuable as your grandchildren's art?" They couldn't answer because it had never happened. "I love you all," I continued, "but I can't keep pretending this is okay. I need you to see me for who I am, not who you wish I was." Mom had gone pale. "Jessica, I never meant to make you feel unimportant." "But you did. All of you did." To my shock, Michael sat down beside me. "You're right," he said. "And I'm sorry. When you walked out, I was furious because you disrupted my perfect Christmas. But later, I realized I've been judging your life because it doesn't look like mine." As Olivia joined us, we heard a voice call, "Margaret." We turned to see Dad walking toward us. "Richard? What are you doing here?" Mom asked. "Making sure this conversation happens properly," he replied, sitting beside her. "It's time we listened to Jessica." The 5 of us sat there, decades of unspoken resentments finally surfacing. For the first time, I felt truly seen by my family. "I don't know how to fix this," Mom finally admitted. "I thought I was doing everything right." "You can start by accepting that my life choices are valid," I said. "I can try," she said quietly. It wasn't full acknowledgement, but it was something, the beginning of a shift. As we left, Dad put his arm around me. "This isn't resolved," he said. "But it's a start." In the car, Michael said, "You walking out might have been the best thing for this family." We've been pretending everything's perfect for so long, we stopped seeing each other. Later, I got a text from Mom, we're having a family dinner next week. There will be a place for you at the main table. I hope you'll join us. I haven't decided if I'll go, but the acknowledgement alone feels like progress. Update 3, it's been a week since my confrontation with my family. After much reflection, I've made a decision that wasn't easy. After our park meeting where my mother barely acknowledged the hurt she'd caused, I realized nothing would really change. Her half-hearted, I can try wasn't a commitment, just words to smooth things over. When Olivia texted about a makeup dinner, I called Mom directly. Before I agreed to come, I said, I need to know things will be different. Of course, she replied. We'll set a place for you at the main table. In her mind, this was just about seating, not about years of dismissing my choices. It's not just about the table. It's about respecting me as an adult who's made different but valid choices. I already said I was sorry about the table, she sighed. You're being dramatic again. This is why we worry about you. There it was, the same dismissal wrapped in concern. Nothing had changed. I won't be coming on Sunday, I said quietly. Or any Sunday soon. Jessica, don't be ridiculous. I'm setting a boundary. I won't attend gatherings where I'm not respected as an equal adult. I hung up, surprisingly calm despite my racing heart. The text came immediately. Mom, this is childish behavior. Olivia, why can't you just accept her olive branch? Michael, way to make everything about you again. Only Dad was different, I understand, though I'm disappointed. I didn't respond to any of them. My therapist helped me see something important. My family needed me as a baby to maintain their positions of authority. If I changed roles, everyone would need to adjust. The guilt tripping started next. Your nephew was so disappointed. Dad's blood pressure is up again. Mom made your favorite dessert. Each message confirmed my decision. They weren't concerned about my needs, just their disrupted narrative. A week later, Tyler, my 16-year-old nephew, showed up unannounced. They're all mad at you, he said, but I don't get it. You just wanted to be treated like a grown-up. Exactly, I nodded. They say you're selfish and dramatic, but that's what they say about me too when I ask for privacy. We talked for an hour about his own struggles for recognition. Are you ever coming back? He asked as he left. I don't know. I hope they can see us for who we are. But until then, I need distance. Can I still visit you? Anytime, I promised. After he left, I wrote an email to my family. For years, I've accepted being treated as less than an adult because I haven't followed the traditional path. The Christmas dinner incident wasn't isolated, it was part of a pattern. I need to step back from family gatherings for my well-being. This isn't punishment, but a necessary boundary. I love you all, but love shouldn't require me to diminish myself. When there's genuine willingness to see me as an equal, I'll be here. Until then, I need distance. I'm available to speak individually with anyone wanting to understand rather than just get me to fall in line. With love, Jessica. I sent it, then blocked the family group chat. That evening, I had dinner with friends who've become my chosen family. The next morning, I had dozens of missed calls and messages, mostly angry or guilt-inducing. Only Dad and surprisingly Olivia showed understanding. Dad wrote, I respect your decision. Can we still meet for breakfast sometimes? I replied only to him, I'd like that. Next week? It's been a month now. The guilt tripping has finally stopped. I've had breakfast with Dad twice, awkward but more honest than ever before. Olivia asked if we could get coffee. I've been thinking about what you said. I'm cautiously hopeful about rebuilding some individual relationships, but firm about not returning to family events until there's real change. Sometimes the healthiest choice isn't reconciliation but recognizing toxic dynamics. Walking away from family isn't easy, but sometimes necessary. For now, I'm surrounding myself with people who value me as I am, not as they wish I would be. I'll think about it.